Hi, Dr. Brian Kaufman, a retired family doctor and a CLL patient myself, and the co-founder, Executive Vice President, Chief Medical Officer of the nonprofit CLL Society here at ASH 2022 in New Orleans. Dr. Stilgenbauer?
Hi, my name is Stephan Stilgenbauer. I'm the Medical Director of the Comprehensive Cancer Center at Ulm University Medical Center in Germany.
And Dr. Stilgenbauer, as a physician scientist who actually not only takes care of patients but is doing actual laboratory and bench science and stuff, one of the things you've looked at is this plight in CLL, Richter's transformation. And you have a paper that you're presenting at ASH, The Evolutionary History of Transformation from Chronic Lymphocytic Leukemia to Richter Syndrome. So can you explain what kind of research you were doing and why you decided to do this research and why patients should be aware of this research?
Right, so chronic lymphocytic leukemia in the vast majority of patients does not require treatment, or if treatment is required, can be controlled very, very well today with the great drugs that we have available. However, there's a certain type of evolution of the disease called Richter's transformation that is the evolution of CLL into aggressive lymphoma, and much more aggressive disease, rapidly evolving, and unfortunately so very hard to treat. The survival expectancies when this transformation occurs are very poor, and we don't have good things available to help patients. Therefore, it is important to understand the biology and the mechanisms leading to this transformation to, in the end, identify better approaches to treat this condition.
Yeah, I mean, that's what happened with CLL. I mean, a dozen years ago, we kind of cracked the biology and we said, oh, this B-cell receptor pathway looks pretty darn important. And when we block it at this point, Bruton's tyrosine kinase at that spot, wow, this really works. And then the same thing with BCL2 and venetoclax. So what we're hoping here is that by understanding what happens with Richter's transformation, which is an aggressive lymphoma, we might be better able to understand what we could target, what we could drug to try to get it under control.
Indeed, absolutely. What we did in our research is exactly along those lines. So we took patient samples of the CLL phase and then of the Richter phase, so when the disease had transformed, and compared those to identify from this comparison what makes the disease become so bad. And with that approach, identify biological mechanisms that in the future may lead to new treatment options.
And is there any of this that you think you could explain in a way that a patient who doesn't have a PhD might be able to understand?
Sure. I mean, as you outlined, the B-cell receptor, which is transmitting signals in normal B cells, but also in CLL cells, was found to be kind of the Achilles heel that we could target in CLL. Very similar pathways are being identified with this research that with novel compounds that are under development we may tackle in the very same way. There are various of these pathways that look promising. To be honest, none of these pathways or drugs attacking these pathways are available in clinical practice yet, but based on that research, we certainly hope to drive that development forward.
This is where it starts, and this is why I always encourage patients to be in clinical trials. When your doctor says, I'd like to just draw some blood so I can follow this serially, you always say yes. I always was teased when I'd see Tom Kipps, I'd get 12 blood samples drawn, and 4 of them would be for me clinically, and 8 of them would be for his lab to go into the biorepository, you know, deep frozen for if he needed, oh, I need somebody who's had CLL for 10 years with this kind of marker. So we always encourage people to do that.
Absolutely. This is so helpful for our research. This donation, it is the greatest donation that you can make. And it helped already identify, as we discussed, drugs such as bispecific antibodies or the very famous now CAR T-cell therapy, which for CLL still is under development, as you know. But these things, for instance, provide really great promise, in particular for this really very, very hard to treat Richter's condition.
Dr. Stilgenbauer, any final thoughts or anything you want to share with the CLL patient community on this kind of research?
Oh, thank you. Yes, we are very blessed as physicians to live in these days. developments due to the contribution of all of our patients participating in trials, participating in translational research is so great. It is rewarding for us to see how much better we can help patients today. And it is very important and a great contribution to science and for mankind in general if we continue working on this. And it is my plea for each and every CLL patient to please participate in registries, in clinical trials to help advance the field further.
Stephan, I always appreciate what you and your colleagues are doing. I always learn when I talk with you. Thank you so much, and I look forward to seeing you at future conferences.
It is always a pleasure. Thank you very much, Brian. All the
Thank
best to you.